Um, I just listened to a podcast of his over the weekend, or not of his, but an interview with him, Mark Nepo, The Book of Awakening. And he has a new book coming out of poetry. And he read some of the poetry on this podcast I listened to, and it was just so beautiful. And it reminded me of how much I love his writing. So this is a cool book because it's just a little something for every day. So of course I opened it this morning because he was on my mind and read today's. And so I thought I would read it to you. The risk to bloom. And then the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk to bloom. We all face this turning point repeatedly when resisting the flow of inner events suddenly feels more hurtful than leaping toward the unknown. Yet no one can tell us when to leap. There is no authority to bless our need to enter life, but the God within. How often we thwart ourselves by holding tenaciously to what is familiar. It is instructive, if chilling, that in floral shops, the roses that won't open are called bullets. Well, I didn't know that until this morning. I don't know if any of you did. They are discarded because they will never bloom. They have turned in on themselves so tightly that they can never release their fragrance. Yet as spirits in bodily form, we have the chance to tighten and bloom more than once. But even spirits, if turned in on themselves long enough, may grow accustomed to being closed. Unlike roses, however, the human chamber can be shut down for days or years, and still it takes but one breath from the true center, and we will flower. It has always amazed and humbled me how the risk to bloom can seem so insurmountable beforehand and so inevitably freeing once the threshold of suffering is crossed. I have a friend in recovery, and when asked what made him stop drinking, he says, the pain of drinking became greater than the pain of not drinking. The same can be said for us all. We can flower in an instant as soon as the pain of not flowering and not loving becomes greater than our fear. So go ahead and close your eyes, find a good posture. And just try to notice, what might hinder you, what keeps you in a tight bud. Is it self-protective forces? There's so many things, right, that we can hold ourselves tightly for. Right? So if you kind of enter into the depths of kind of insulation and self-protection and isolation, what is it that you need to open yourself up? So close your eyes and find a good posture. Just take a moment to enjoy the alignment of your body. See if you can feel that sense of grounding through your pelvis. Let your breath start to free up a little bit. So if you're a little unwell, or if you haven't been breathing deeply for whatever reason, let's see what we can accomplish here to slowly open up our chambers. If you can, breathe through your nose, both on the inhale and the exhale. Notice what's available, what might not be available. Allow the shoulders to settle and soften. Notice if your desire to have good posture has pinched your back at all. See if you can open up the back of your body as much as the front of your body. Notice your rib cage and the fullness of movement that's available on your breath. Not just your chest rising and falling, but the swell of your whole center. See what you can do to Let your exhales come a little slower. Let's place the hands together at the heart. Feel the sternum meet your hands again, not pinching the back body, but just feeling a swell through your torso. Offer an intention here. Place the hands and find our way onto our back. So as you lie down, let's all grab, if you have one, grab, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this ahead of time, grab your little squishy ball. So if you have to run and get it, I'm sorry. Okay. But we're going to start on this ball with a little bit of breath work. So go ahead and lie down on your right side with the ball underneath your rib cage on the right side, and you can put a block underneath your head if you want to. And now I invite you to do a variety of things here. You can just breathe steadily, where you have the ball and maybe, choose a couple of spots, a few breaths in each spot. But I also invite you to potentially move. So I just took my sweatshirt off because this is really done best with bare skin or the minimal amount of clothing that you can have, just so your clothes don't get caught on the ball if you're going to choose to do the moving aspects of this. So if you are, just kind of roll over the ball so that you just get a little bit of mobility in the rib cage. And this is just an invitation. You don't have to do this. If you really appreciate the breathing on the ball just with stillness, that's a beautiful way to do this too. I have a block under my head to support my head. And we're going to do two different positions here. So start, kind of in the upper aspects of your rib cage. And you do you. Maybe you want to take a deep breath in and hold that big frame of the rib cage for a moment, and then exhale fully. And you can even have your hand on your top ribs to kind of compress the ribs toward each other. So experiment with what might feel good for your lungs right now. So we're just giving our lungs a little bit of a massage in any way that you kind of intuitively feel is best for you. It could be stillness, just breathing on the ball. It could be hand on your rib cage and finding that big frame and small frame of the ribs, or it can be gliding forward and backward toward the chest and then toward the back body on the ball. No matter what you're choosing to do, make sure you're breathing well and that you have a sense of relaxation in the rest of your body. We'll get up and moving in a moment. So if you're antsy for movement, just give yourself this opportunity to move the innards of your breath first before we start moving the outer body form more. And then take your time. You might be like, "Ooh, I just want to do this for an hour." Forget yoga. Then you can do this for an hour. Okay, so this is your practice. But if you want to move the ball down to a slightly different place in the lung fields, then you can do that. Same theory applies. You can kind of rock where you're kind of rolling on that ball, where you're kind of sliding forward and sliding back on it. You can be still on the ball and hold your rib cage frame, the top ribs, and breathe deeply in. Hold that big expansive ribs for a moment, and then as you exhale, compress your hand into the top ribs. So you try to connect the two sides of the ribs, giving a little compression and squeeze to those lower lung fields. Or maybe you just want to be very still and feel your body breathe on the ball. Okay, so there's a lot of feedback into our lungs when we have this slight pressure, and really let yourself explore this. So don't feel like you have to stay in one spot. You might find, like, sometimes when I do this, I like to lean forward onto the front of my rib cage a little bit more. Sometimes I like to stay further back on my ribs. Sometimes I like to be right on the side. Sometimes I like to move, sometimes I don't. So this is all just exploration and a little bit of a self massage for the lung tissues and the pleura. You have this lining in between your lungs and your ribs, called your pleura. And sometimes, we can get a little sticky, a little stuck. So let's just have the intention of freeing ourselves in our breath as best as we can right now. Then after your next breath or two, when you are ready, we're going to switch over to the other side. So when you are maybe unwell, if you've got a little sickness going on, or you're just very fatigued and don't have a lot of energy for your practice, maybe you've burned the candle down to its nubs, then doing some simple self-massage breath work is such a great way to move into your practice. All right, so find this spot. Now, same things apply. Do you want to move? Do you want to be still? Do you want to have your hand on the upper ribs? Do you want to compress at all? Just find what feels good. But once you have your position and movement, remember that this is really a gift to the lungs. So let's breathe deeply as best as your body can right now. It's a little hard when you have compression going on to feel your breath get really large, but make it as big as you can get it. And then you can move the ball down to a lower spot if you want. Maybe you're like, no, this is just such a perfect spot to be. I don't want to change anything. And we're skipping the belly today, but most of you have done this with me now, where we can get the ball into the abdomen a little bit too, and kind of work with more freeing up some of the fascia that binds the diaphragm, and get into the psoas and some different musculature in the belly that tends to get bound for breath. But today, let's just focus on the lungs themselves. Now, take your time. If you feel like I'm rushing this side and you want more, then you just take more. Okay. We're going to the last position we're going to do is just directly on our chest. Okay, so you can have this kind of on your sternum, where you lie down on your belly. Now, it might feel not so good to move. It might feel good to move. You might just want to be still and breathe. So just find, again, your own exploration of what feels good. Usually the ball a little bit deflated feels better here than super inflated. So you might need to adjust how inflated you have the ball. And again, if you don't have one of these balls, it's just a 9-inch Pilates ball, otherwise known as a muscle release ball. You can find them online and order them online. If you want, one costs about $10 or so, and there's a lot of really good use for them. Okay, so now let's kind of release that and come right up onto all fours. Move the ball out of the way. And feel into the fullness of your breath here. Relax your belly. And start moving your body in some cat-cows when you feel ready. Rounding the spine, arching the spine, getting your rib cage to be a little bit more mobile. Feel free to move the tail, move the head, and feel free to move away from just the cat-cows and let your body flow. So if you want to wag your tail or roll around in your hips, move your head, your neck, your shoulders. Try to be as free as possible. All right, now come to a flat back. We're going to do some rib cage rolling here. So let your chest drop down and then move it over to the right and up toward the sky and over to the left. Just getting some full mobility in your thoracic spine and your rib cage. Make sure you're breathing. And then go the other direction. And don't worry if your hips are, finding their own little pattern within this, that's great. But focus your attention on the mobility of your ribs. Okay, stretch back towards child's pose. Walk the hands out in front of you. Find that deep stretch, compress into your hips. We haven't done much to open our legs yet, but we will. Walk the hands over to one side or the other, and let's just complete this sense of rib cage opening with a big side body stretch. Drop your sit bones down, let your head be as relaxed as you can. Open up the windows of your rib cage, stretch all those intercostal muscles. Let the breath touch the inner walls of the ribs, and then let the breath move away from the inner walls of the ribs. See if you can get that pleural space, the space between your ribs and your lungs, to be a little bit mobile. Over to the other side. Feel that sense of length. Drop your sit bones down, let your head relax. Open up the rib cage. Back to center, hands on the ground, lift up to dog pose, and let's begin to pedal our feet here. So dropping one heel, dropping the other, feeling our knees bend. See if you want to sway your hips, open up your body. We haven't done our usual floor, lying on our back, opening the legs, so let's enjoy this. Yield your hands and your feet. Feel the reach of the heart up toward the pelvis. Relax your head, let it bobble around. Now all this rib cage opening, breathe deeply. A full long exhale. And then walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana. Wag your tail, shake your ribs, bobble your head. Inhale for a halfway lift. The spine gets long and straight. And exhale and melt and fold again. Sometimes that blooming of our, internal rose happens really quickly. Sometimes it happens really slowly. So just notice what your practice gives you to thaw yourself out and open yourself up. Spread out your hands and feet on your hands on blocks or legs. Stretch to a halfway lift again. And then melt and fold and soften your skull down. Rise up, arms to the sky. Take a deep breath, lean back if it feels nice. If you're dizzy, squeeze to the midline. Open your chest, cactus those arms, squeeze the back of your body here. And then exhale and round in and squeeze the front of your body. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale and release the hands down. Okay. All right, so just to give the lungs just a little bit of a jiggle now, instead of all the compression work, we're going to just shake. So if you're in an energetic mood, you can jump. And if you're not in an energetic mood, or your knees or ankles or hips or back don't like jumping, then just bounce, okay? And you can wiggle. Now let your breath be as deep as you can possibly get it to be. Let your exhales come. Okay, shake yourself out. You can even, get onto one leg and give yourself a good old shake. And now take your hands on this onto your chest and go ahead and give yourself some good percussion. And we're going to start in the lung feels, but we're going to do our whole body. This is so good, not only for your lungs, but for your lymph and your nervous system. Okay, so give some good taps on the back of your ribs. Give yourself a good fist smack. Breathe. Get smacks. And now we're going to go down our whole body. So just give a good smack to our limbs. Okay. Believe it or not, this is not only good to wake up your nervous system, but it's very good for your lymph. Not so much of your lymph that is very superficial in your body. Don't forget your head and your face. All right, now maybe stop. So look at all this, kind of non-yogic kind of yogic work we've done, but just notice the aliveness in your body, the ability to breathe, the waking, the opening. Take a deep breath, arms come up. Exhale and float forward, relax your skull. A halfway lift. Spine is long, melt and relax. Let's step back to dog pose, long spine, breathing deeply here. Feel the roots, feel the rise, feel your breath. Come forward into a plank, hold yourself nice and steady, finding breath. Shoulders away from the ears. Integrate into the core of your body. Now, with the strength that you have to stabilize with, have the balancing act of sturdy center core, but also breathe deep into the lungs. See if you can feel the ribs expand outward to the sides. All right, come find the ground when you're ready. Couple shoulder rolls. Inhale, cobra pose, chest open. Exhale and relax. Let's do that twice more. And your choice on where you put your arms. Maybe you stay in a full cobra. Make sure you come down on your exhale. Maybe you come wider with your hands and feel a different space in your back bend. Relax. Come up onto all fours. Move the spine about. Find your way back to a dog pose. So lengthen your spine. Big breaths here. Let's bring our right foot forward. Finding a lunge. Hands come up on blocks if you want them. All this opening we've done for the body. Let's breathe our way here. Straightening your leg. Tuck your chin. Maybe your toes come up. Bend your knee. Chest is forward. Just moving back and forth. The breath is our guiding light. The next time you come to your lunge, feel yourself get grounded. Drop your feet, rise up, bring the arms upward or outward or wherever feels nice. Root your legs. Come up and lengthen through your body. Maybe look up, maybe look back, maybe don't do that. Just find what's here. How do you open yourself up? Let's cactus open the arms here and lean forward. Arms come forward. Finding breath. Extend through the spine. Arms come back, rising up again. This time we twist, turn to the right, drop the shoulders down, lift the spine, fill up those lungs again. Reaching your arms back up in the air, hands down onto the ground, back foot comes forward, fold, relax your neck. A halfway lift, spine gets spacious and free. Exhale, relax and fold. Step your other foot back, now our left is in front. Finding a lunge, feel the hip flexors start to open. Move when your breath is ready. Straightening the leg, maybe the toes come up and the chin tucks. Chest is forward when you bend that knee. Follow the rhythm of your breathing. Root your feet. Come on up when you feel ready. So let yourself get grounded before you rise up. So you're nice and steady. Put your arms anywhere that serves this big opening of the breath. Feel the chest rise without pinching the back body. Once again, feeling the swell in the whole torso as you breathe. We're going to cactus, open the arms, keep the chest broad, and then press your arms forward. If this is too much for your body, take the arms back next to your sides instead. Keep the neck long, drop some weight into the feet. Full breaths. Relax your neck. Come rising back up again. Steady yourself, twist when you're ready, twisting left. Soft shoulders coming down, hug to the midline with your inner thighs. Stay rooted in that front foot. Arms coming back up. Hands coming down, dog pose. Spacious spine, root to rise. Fill up those lungs, let them get big and broad. Inhale, come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady again, feeling that sense of contraction in toward the center and expansion of our ribs on the inhale. Find the ground. One more time, any back bend you want. It doesn't have to be cobra. Relax and melt. Okay, pick up your feet for a moment, windshield wiper. I'm gonna do, a little bit of work to just move lymph in our body today. We have this deep reservoir of lymph in our belly. So let's activate there. So interlace your hands behind your back. If this is not comfortable for you, then you get to put your hands down at your sides instead. Take a deep breath in. We're gonna lift everything up, arms and legs, chest. Keep the neck long. Find your breath moving deep into your belly. So of course your breath isn't going into your belly, but your diaphragm sure is. So let the diaphragm be very mobile. All this breath is a massage for the deep lymph in the body. Everything works so harmoniously together when we're breathing well. Relax. Put your hands down, come up onto all fours. Take a moment there, move a bit there. Then come back towards child's pose. Feeling that compression in the hips. Finding your way back up, dog pose. A long, spacious spine. Pedal your feet if it feels nice. And then walk your feet forward. Climbing on up. If you need a block between your thighs for chair pose, take a block. Put your legs together or hip width apart, your choice. Arms coming up, find your chair. You can have your hands closer in toward your sternum. You can have your arms out. So give what your arm position to the breath. What is going to serve your breath best? Put your weight into your heels, drop some energy here. Find your breath coming and going. Full breaths. Okay. Climb all the way back up. We're going to do eagle arms first, then we'll add the legs. So take your right arm over your left arm, drop the shoulders, lift the chest. Our elbows are going to come up and pull them away from our chest. Drop the shoulders down. Breathe into the tops of your ribs here. Breathe into your upper neck and shoulders. Just see if you can let the breath travel to where the stretch is. Unwind the arms, change sides, other arm on top, left arm on top. Drop the shoulders, lift the elbows, feel the stretch across your shoulders. Notice how the breath, where it's moving now is in the ribs. So can you feel your armpit chest expand? And then relax. Come to a big open star. I promise we'll get to that eagle pose in a moment. So stretch out big and wide. Exhale, come down like a deep squat. Elbows inside knees. Open up the inner thighs. You can lean forward a little bit. Just get your legs open and ready for some work. Drop the weight into your feet well. Coming up to stand. Big breath. Exhale. That energy dropping down. And then lifting it back up. One more times. Breathe your way here. This next one, when we go down, we're going to stay for just a little bit, not a super long time, but just get yourself in that deep rounding space. Your hands can stay down. You can put them anywhere you want. Try to have the chest lifted instead of leaning forward. Feel your feet ground into the four corners. Maybe spin some jar lids, toes pull back, heels forward. Feel your breath enter deep into the belly, the low ribs moving, the pelvic floor can feel your breath. Stand on up, turn your right foot out, arms coming up to the sky, take a deep breath. Exhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Let's move with breath. Inhale, straight leg. Exhale. Bend your knee. One more flow. When we come down again, we'll stay. So as you find your exhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Shoulders relax, gaze out over your fingers, drop some weight into your legs. Feel the work. Get some juice flowing into your legs. Let your lower rib cage find movement. So we're not just breathing in the top of our ribs here. Finding breath. Hand down, reach that arm up, open up your side body. And then straighten your leg, triangle pose. Extend your body, shoulders away from the ears. You can put your hand on a block if you so choose. All right, feel the openness. What's open here? What can have breath move into it in your body? Where are you feeling that? If you're a rose that was not turning into a bullet, but blooming, what needs to be coaxed? Okay, what naturally is opening? Okay, come back up. Turn your feet to the other side. So same two postures here, or a few postures here. Lengthen upward with your arms, legs straight. Exhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Flow with breath. Arms coming up, legs straight. Exhale, Virabhadrasana 2. One more time. Now we get to stay. So when you find this posture, Enjoy what's here. Drop the shoulders. Feel that sense of heart expanding to your fingers. Can you breathe into the lower rib cage? Can you drop some weight into the feet? Are your shoulders and neck as relaxed as possible? From here, reverse your warrior. Up you go with that side arm. Lengthen, open your ribs. And then straighten your leg and find triangle pose. Hand can be on leg or block. Open your body up. Drop some weight into the feet. Feel the rib cage. Imagine, that beginning posture we did with our breath, where we have this sense of expansion through both sides of our ribs. And then come back up to stand. Turn your feet out. One more round of our goddess postures. Open up. Exhale. Lower back down. Adjust your feet. Find a position that feels good. This next one we're going to hold. Big breath here. Drop in. Put your hands anywhere that serves. Try not to lean forward. See if you can stay upright. Drop some weight into the feet. Breathing well. Standing star. Big open breath. Heel toe your feet in. Tadasana. Mountain pose. So drop some weight into the feet. Enjoy your legs coming back to center. Feet come together or hip width apart. Chair pose. Take your hands right on the tops of your thighs and just press down for a moment. Maybe press somewhere through your legs, anywhere that feels good. And then reach your arms wherever they're going to go. Stand on up. Release your arms down. Have Tadasana be a friend for just a moment. Where in your rib cage is a little stuck still? Can you feel if your whole torso is able to move? Can you feel the swell, the tide, the rise and the fall of breath everywhere? All right, so now we find our eagle pose. This is, one of the very best poses to kind of squeeze and move lymph in the body. So if you are feeling stagnant or stuck in some way, this is such a good posture to squeeze and release. Okay, we're standing on our right leg. We're going to cross our left thigh over. Have a good squeeze. You can wrap your foot around if it goes there. Otherwise, just let it be on the side of your calf. Try not to swivel your hips. We're facing forward. Because our left leg is on top, we're putting our right arm on top. Square the hips, square the shoulders, squeeze everything to the midline. Let the breath travel under your armpits. Gaze softly, full breaths. Squeeze arms and legs. And then open up, standing star. Find breath. Come back to center. Tuck the chin toward the chest. Hands together. Give a good squeeze here. And then relax the squeeze back to Tadasana. Of course, you can stick your butt against a wall if you need a little extra balance support. So you can kind of be in the pose like this where you're sticking your backside against a piece of furniture or a wall. Try to let balance not take you away from this posture today. We're doing this for our lymph. So if you need help with balance, take it. Standing on your left leg, Right thigh over left thigh. Try to keep your hips square to the front. Arms come up, left arm on top of right. Shoulders drop down, chest lifts, elbow lifts. Squat and squeeze. Okay, so squat the legs, squeeze the arms, breathe into the armpits. Find the breath. Okay, and then rising up, standing star. Big breath. Take your feet wider apart now and fold forward, invert. Let your head drop down. You can put your head on a block if you want, or just have your head dangle. Wide-legged stance. Thigh bones back, shin bones a little bit forward. Find your way into your breath here. All right, let's turn toward the front of your mat. Dog pose. Enjoy and lengthen through your body. Heart lifting toward the pelvis. Find breath. Right leg comes forward. Come to a lunge. Hands can be on blocks. Find breath. Let's rise up one more time. Crescent lunge. Just get that open chest feeling. And then exhale, hands down, half splits, long, spacious spine. Square your pelvis. Take a deep breath in. Hug your knee behind your knee. Jiva squats. So squeeze in, let your core engage, your hips, flexors, tuck your chin. Inhale, straighten out. Again, finding that movement of lymph. So squat in, feel all your pits, your elbow pits, your armpits, your hip pits, your knee, groin pits, your knee pits, everything squeezes in and then straightens out. One more time. All your breath out. All your breath in. Place that foot down next to the other foot. Half lift. Extend the spine. Fold forward and relax. Enjoy your head dropping down below your heart. Step your left foot forward. Right foot comes back. A lunge here. Rising tides, arms up. Big breath. Open your body. Exhale, hands to blocks. Half splits. Long spine, square hips. Breathing well. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, squat in. Flex in your hips, your knees, your armpits, chin, chest. Inhale, straighten out. Exhale, drop it in. One more. Extend long. Exhale. One-legged squat. Stretching out long. Place that foot down onto the ground. Uttanasana. Let's come down onto our back. Okay, so lie down. We're going to do a bridge pose. So drop your weight into your feet. We're going to rock on to the tops of our shoulders. If you want to interlace your hands underneath you, that's fine. If you want to have your arms just down next to your, on the ground, pressing into the ground, that's fine too. Ground the four corners of your feet. Open your collarbones. Open your shoulders. Breathe well. All of your lymph drains back into these two ducts right at your collarbones, back into your cardiovascular system, sweeping up a whole bunch of debris in your body and bringing it back into the cardiovascular system to be processed and excreted. So let's enjoy our filtration systems here. Breathe well. Open the ribs, ground the feet. Relax your pelvis down. Unlock your shoulders, let everything relax for a moment. Windshield wiper your knees. As your knees go left, head goes right. As your knees go right, head goes left. Back and forth here. And repeat that bridge pose. Drop your feet. Find your breath. Lift on up, interlace your hands underneath you if that's not available. Arms down at your sides, pressing into the ground. Open up your chest. Feel your sternum expand. Feel the lungs do their thing. And so open them up. Drop some weight into the four corners of your feet. Check in with your neck and make sure it's not pressing down too hard. Where can the breath go? Lower your body back down onto the ground again. Some windshield wipering. Head goes in the opposite direction of knees. Put your feet on the ground. Lift your hips up. Scoot them over to the right. Knees come up and drop to the left. Turn your head. Breathe well in this twist. See if you can, of course, twisting feels really nice on our spine. But see if you can get that ringing out feeling in the rib cage and breath a little bit, where we're having a little twist offers a little bit of pressure onto the ribs, onto the lungs. And come back to center. Lift up your hips, scoot them to the left. Knees come up and drop to the right. And twist open here. Head turns. Find your breath. Relax. We're going to take either one or two blocks. So a couple of choices here. You can do a classic park bench where you have one block under your head higher than the block underneath your chest. You can have just one block underneath your chest so that you're doing a little bit more of a back bend, or you can have the two blocks at the same height, one under the chest, one under the head. So decide how you want your blocks to be. And we're going to just allow those bottom rib cage muscles, all the attachments of your diaphragm, a lot of fascia. That's a little bit of a stretch on the pleura. Okay, so arms. Once you figure out where the blocks are going to be and where your head's going to be at, figure out where you want your arms to be. So the arms can be grabbing onto your elbows and stretching over your head. Your arms can be out to the sides or cactus or down at your sides. So find a pathway that not only serves the chest and the breath and the spine, but your shoulders as well. Find yourself breathing deeply, as deep as you can without strain. Bring yourself into that swell. A little bench for your heart to rest upon. Now you can stay longer if you're like, oh, I love this pose. Stay longer, but if you're ready, come rolling over onto your side. Rest your head on a block for a moment. Curl your spine. Just let your body relax. Breathe into the back of your body now. I'm going to come into reverse pigeon pose, but if you can manage it, find a wall or a piece of furniture to put your legs up on so that you have the ability to keep your spine soft and rested instead of reaching to grab behind your leg. All right, so left foot on the wall or a piece of furniture, right foot on top of left knee. And of course, you do you. So if you want to do pigeon pose instead or do the more active version of reverse pigeon, your choice. Now, because your spine can deeply rest, you have choices here. You can have your arms on the ground where we're just in that deep space of resting the torso. You can also put your hands one on knee and one on foot to press away a little bit on the knee to deepen the stretch. So just find whatever's working, but whatever you're choosing to do, make sure your neck and shoulders stay relaxed. Let your head get heavy. Breathe your way into your hips. Whenever you're ready to make a change, you can change sides. There's no rush. If you're really enjoying postures, one of the beauties of doing yoga at home by yourself is that you can, travel down roads less traveled. So if you really love something, how you're feeling, you're settling into a deep place, then just ignore me for a little while and stay where you are. Our practice is really such an internal, unique, day-to-day unique experience that having a teacher is just kind of something to keep you accountable, but you get to travel your own path through your yoga practice. Are you able to melt the breath a little bit more? Can your head and neck relax more? Let's release that side. Come away from the wall. Find your way into a big giant star. Stretch your fingers and your toes. Roll your wrists, your ankles. And then knees into chest. Curl your chin up. Let's do it once more. Open big and wide to a star. And then exhale. Snuggle ball. Relax your head. Complete your practice however you want. Maybe a happy baby. Maybe a little rocking, knees to chest. Whatever feels good. And then Shavasana is yours. So let yourself be fully present for your Shavasana. Try not to skimp on this posture. A lot of times it's easy to just be like, okay, I'm done, and move on. This is really this time of integration, rest, renewal. Feel your body drop. Heavy head, arms, legs. Your belly's free to move with your breath. Feel the swell of breath in your torso, ribcage. steady access. Begin to find that deep, beautiful breath again. Relax your head. Maybe invite some movement into your limbs. And rolling onto your side as you're ready. And slowly lift yourself up. There's no right way to get yourself upright. Just take your time. And as you find your seat, just notice, how has your practice supported you today? How are you breathing? Let's offer the gifts of our practice. Namaste. And blessings, everyone. Blessings on your well-being.